The beast comes out in the dead of night. WrestleShoot eats a Tuesday night. Rob and Chris don't pull the punches, bitch. WrestleShoot, breaking it down, WrestleShoot, telling the facts, WrestleShoot, stories on the road, WrestleShoot, that's our partner subjects. No party ever escapes their sight. Coming at you live every Tuesday night. Hey, WrestleShoot, anti-social network, WrestleShoot, sticky and hot, WrestleShoot, sometimes act like jerks, WrestleShoot, always bringing all the guts.
You goddamn fucking right. You are goddamn right. Rob and Chris don't pull no punches, bitch. Not with Max Payne.
Yo!
What's up, everybody? You're here with a live episode of WrestleShoot. We're coming at you live. It's Tuesday night. We're honoring our fucking words. I'm your host, the Wild Thing, Rob Wilds, the once great and powerful, the victim of the Bleacher King. And of course, I'm joined today by the lovely and talented, the always popular, always over, my hedgerow life mate, the great Chris Casanova. But Chris, we would be missed if we didn't bring up our hardcore fucking icon, the great Max Payne, who sued a video game and won. Fucking A-right. We're right here on the Anti-Social Network. You can catch us. You can catch all of our affiliates. And if you are a content creator, then this is for you. Fuck yeah, dude.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, guys. Look here, man. Let's bring that shit on. If you are a content creator, you think, oh, my idea is crazy. Nobody wants to do it. You haven't talked to everybody because we love crazy. Bring your particular brand of crazy on over to us. Brian, my G, what is up, dude? You see, Max, people do recognize we're legends. Where the fuck is Chris?
I don't know. He powdered all fucking ready, and it's goddamn only 5 minutes past when we started the show.
Not even. Because I had this great, exciting thing.
Chris, where are you, man?
For the love of God, Chris.
Fuck.
Oh, well. I had this whole thing that I was going to do, right? I had this whole gimmick planned out for
you know what he's doing right now? He's switching to his phone, and he's all worried because he's going to come back in portrait mode that I'm going to be mad at him, and he just can't handle the fucking pressure in the kitchen right now.
Well, who the fuck wants you to be mad at them? You're a beast. Jesus Christ, I saw what you did to Harley.
But I'm a fuzzy beast.
That doesn't... So are bears.
I know, but they're fuzzy. We have teddy bears.
Wait, like, seriously, where the fuck is Chris?
I don't know. You know, I'm telling you, man, he's right now, he's switching to his phone. Mark my words, he's coming back in portrait mode. I'll bet anything you want.
And then are you going to give it to him?
Oh, fuck, you know I am.
You should really blow it up.
He's probably trying to find a charging cord so he can leave it in portrait mode or in landscape mode.
Should really blow it up and work the gimmick that you're hot. What the fuck, Chris? What the? We're live, you
damn
son of
it.
a bitch.
You know that's what he's worried about. He's fucking scrambling around through his fucking house trying to find a cord.
Well, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know about Casanova. He is every bit as psychotic as I am. Speaking of which, hang on. WrestleShoot.
I hear every goddamn word you both are saying. Let me in.
Oh, you can't get in?
No, I'm in the studio watching.
Well, there you go, princess. Sorry.
See, I told you. I told you.
Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. Calm down, Max.
Fucking told you. What did
Max,
I
relax.
say?
It's okay. It's okay.
God damn it.
See, you keep scaring them.
Oh.
I heard every fucking word you two were saying. I was fucking sitting and listening to all of it.
God damn it. This show is full of stupid. I love it.
It's much fun jesting with you, Chris.
I love it, man. Keep bringing it on. I love it.
Uh-oh, Chris, you know what? Old Brian Blackwood, he was actually counting down how long you were gone, and it seems you just got counted out of the show.
Oh, fuck off, Brian Blackwood.
Hey, be nice. Anyway,
Who's
listen.
Brian Blackwood?
Will's brother.
Brian Blackwood is, I knew him since he was about this big.
Wow.
And he used to have every one of my 8x10s on his wall. Like, this kid grew up watching me break heads.
Nice.
Yeah. I remember when we did the big heel turn on Honky in Orangevale. When I turned on, well, we basically did a gimmick match where I was tag teaming with Honky against a couple of guys. And he was getting, peppered up. So I go in for the tag and then, oh, no, you missed. Fuck. And I go for the tag and his Peggy Sue would say something. I go, what? Does she didn't say anything?
What?
Yeah, we worked out. And then finally I had my hand. They're like, come on, Honky, I'm right here. Come on, get it. Come on, get it. Fuck you. Jumped down and walked away. Went around to the front of the ring, hugged the heel that we were working with, and we jumped Honky.
Nice. That's truly despicable.
And that was a slobber knocker, damn it. Come on,
it
kid.
sounds like one.
And then after the show, out in the parking lot, there's Mr. Blackwood with all three of his siblings and their mom. Not one of them had a word to say to me. All of them were fucking furious. How dare you do that to Honky Tonk Man? It was great, dude.
That's it. That's the only problem with Smarks is when you betray them, you put them in that position. Even somebody who's smart, they're gonna crumble when you fucking turn heel on them. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, hey, Kimberly, thanks for hanging out. Kimberly is awesome. She's my homie from Pittsburgh. We were roommates. Went pretty well.
Your roomies?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yep, we used to sit up and, we would do things, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then, we would just talk.
Whatever do you mean, Rob?
Yeah,
I just have an itch. It doesn't mean anything. We were just doing something.
What is that? Can you explain to everybody, the viewers?
Chris, I'm going to kill you.
To quote the great Kevin Nash, what's he going to do? Talk about us all doing drugs or something?
Well, yeah, except Levesque. Anyway, speaking of people who talk too much, I'm getting sidetracked. Last week, before we did the epic first ever ASN Sports, which was fantastic, Chris and Max back in the studio got to talking about a gentleman named Eric Watts. And he did an interview recently on Hannibal's show, which I stand by what I've always said. Hannibal, you're a cunt. Anyway.
Don't beat around the bush, goddammit, Rob. Just lay it out there.
I don't like Hannibal. Never have.
Moving forward, he gets on Hannibal's show and he tells a particular story. Chris mentioned the story and Max immediately got hot. So I'm like, all right, let's fucking show the actual interview of what this little cuckhole Eric Watts has to say. Shall we?
Do we have to watch the whole thing? Ugh.
Yes. It's important.
I'm hoping things calm down. Well, they're not.
It was like a fruitcake.
I'm in the locker room. We're on a long road trip. It's the last day. Everyone's beat. Everyone's tired. Everyone's hurt. I remember they were doing construction and like there's some leaky pipes and that's when we had to, dress nice, and everything. And you're just beat, you're just tired. You just want to get the last match off.
Why is his mullet so
you want to get
fluffy?
home. And
Yeah, it's
so I
weird.
don't know why. I'm moody. At the time, I'm tired. I'm getting my butt handed to me in the
Maybe his
back.
boyfriend does his. I don't know, maybe his boyfriend
Scott
does his hair.
Steiner,
I don't
the
know.
people
Shit.
that don't like my dad and all this other stuff. And
Yeah, that
so
place.
I'm just sitting
Yeah.
in my locker, and Rude is standing up, smoking a cigarette, and he's talking about Kurt Hennig, his best friend. He's like, yeah, Kurt's a great athlete. I'm a great athlete, Golden Glove boxer, da-da-da-da. He goes, but I'm just here to tell you guys, a boxer will beat a wrestler every day. And as soon as he said that, my ears turned red. I was so mad, because that just goes. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it, right? I don't want to hear it.
That was before UFC.
Yeah, that's for UFC, right? And so I'm just sitting there.
Oh, thanks, Hannibal.
So I don't say anything.
Can you turn the
And he's
volume
like,
of Eric up a little bit?
Unfortunately,
we've done
no.
this several times,
Okay.
and we do this thing where I get on my all fours and he gets on top.
Real quick, because I do know the audio is low, guys. He's talking about the great Rick Rude right now.
That Rude said that a boxer could outdo a wrestler, could take a wrestler any day.
Yes.
Okay.
Up and he can't hold me down. I escape, And then when he said that, my bullshit meter went through the roof. And I don't know why I said it. I shouldn't have said it. And I just said, like, I had Tourette's. I go, well, then Kurt Hennig is a pussy. And I don't even know if you had a solar eclipse in your life. But when I say everyone was just listening to Rick and everyone was just, and I really didn't have or need anything to say. I said it because I just couldn't take it. And he got so, you're talking about my best friend. I'm thinking, you're talking about your best friend, And I said, well, I got to be honest with you. He just sucks as a wrestler then, because if you can escape and all of that, then he's just, he sucks. Well, he was more worried about the guy he was telling his.
Oh, God. Who the fuck is Eric Watts to say Kurt Hennig sucks? Even if what Rick Rude was saying was true, I can counter and escape what Kirk throws on me. That just means that Rude is that good of a wrestler, not that Hennig is that bad of a wrestler. Eric Watts, dude, you are definitely in the running for the ASN Asshole of the Year award this year.
His best friend that couldn't hold him down. He was now mad that I'm talking bad about his friend. It's the old thing, like, I can talk bad about my spouse, but you can't. I mean, it's the craziest thing. I can talk bad about my brother. If you say something, I'm gonna knock you out. Well, now he is now in my face. I'm in the locker room, and I'm already thinking, okay, I got dress shoes on, slacks, my back's to the wall, which is okay. If he gets too much closer, I'm gonna be in his hips. I'm gonna rip this man's head off.
Oh
and about that time, Sting kind of
Max, you're upside down, buddy.
And he's kind of talking.
Yeah, Max, fix your camera.
And Rude, walks off, for a second. He's thinking.
Well,
Sting goes.
I can't until we go back to the other screen.
I've never seen
maybe I
someone
can.
take so much shit for so long, and the whole rookie thing, and you just got to keep it. He goes, but dude, this is coming from me to you. Your hazing's done. You don't have to take this shit anymore. Because, bro, leading up to that.
Sting told him that, yeah. Sting approached him and said the hazing is done. You don't have to take it anymore. Basically, what this piece of shit is trying to say right now is that Sting told him he is equal to Sting and Rick Rude. That's what he's saying. Fucking
I
idiot.
can't tell you all the things that happened. I even had twice people break glass and put them in my fucking wrestling boots. When I put on wrestling boots.
I knew he was going to fall out. Let's pause this for a minute. Wait for Max to come back. So, Chris, so far what we've heard here is he was in a locker room and Rick Rude was shitmouthing fucking Henning, is what he's implying so far.
Probably having some fun. Like, yeah, I mean, hey, we're messing around. It wasn't. Anyhow.
I doubt he said anything like that about Henning.
No,
I really do, because we all know that Henning was a legit real life hooker. So was Rude. So we know that there is no way that they are fucking shooting on each other and then bragging about it later. Welcome back, Max. Let's get back to it.
You know, I had that happen twice, and I think it was Sting again when that happened. I didn't say anything, and then I cut myself a little bit, and I emptied my shoe out. He goes, "What's that from?" I'm like, it's the hazing. He goes, "No, we don't haze like that," you know, or whatever. And he said something. So Sting kind of gave the like, "Hey, you don't have to take it." And so as soon as he said that, I go, "Whoa, Rude." You know, no. So what were you saying that about Henning? And Sting, he just lit up. He's like, yeah, no. Now, how did that work with you and Henning? And then he goes, well, you know, I've known Eric since he's 14. You know, I've seen him go, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And Rude goes, what? And he just got hyped up. It was like a kid in a candy store. So now the Steiners and, you know, everyone's there. They're just dying.
Before he gets any deeper here, fellas, Chris, you're sideways now. What the fuck is going on here?
I'm not sideways.
Anyway,
I've been to the same camera angle.
I spoke to another old schooler who has had matches with Eric Watts here. And the quote is, he couldn't shoot his way out of a paper bag if the fucking bag was wet. So that's what kind of a shooter Eric Watts is.
Dying to see Rude just, you know, make a fool of me. And to make a long story short, you know, the first time he got on all fours, and you know, Sting goes, okay, I'm gonna move my hand up and you guys go. And he moves his hand up, and I just I crack his elbow in and face plant him and roll him on his back.
You're upside down now. When we come out, maybe it'll fix.
And he just starts going, hold on. I'm holding him, and I let him go, and I back up like that, you know, because again, it's not that.
That's only two ways I can go. And sideways.
Because of Rude, it's just you don't know how to
that
wrestle.
Direction. There you go.
There you go. Boom. You're in. Everybody is centered and lined up now. For the love of technical shit, we are ready to rock.
So you just don't know how to wrestle, so that, you know, whatever. So he, I thought you were gonna say 1,
This
2,
is where
3.
it gets good.
Sting goes, no. You want me to say 1, 2, 3? Let's do it again. So he goes 1, 2, 3, and I just plant him. Yeah. A matter of fact, that time what I did is I planted him, and then I moved forward like a freestyle, and I did a front face lock and rolled him like 3 times, because in freestyle you get those back explosions.
No, you did it
3 times, you know, and then choked him a little bit, and he's like, yeah, let's do it again. And so I said, dude, we can do this all day long. And so he got on all fours while I went freestyle and put my hands on his back and stood there. He goes, well, what are you doing? I go, well, you're such a stud. I go, you know, I'm gonna go freestyle on this neutral position, not collegiate. So let's do freestyle. He goes, I'll grab your feet. I'll jump up. You know, I'm just saying that I can escape. I go, I understand. This should be very easy for you, which I shouldn't have done, because it's just taking advantage of someone that doesn't understand. So I got there so that when he did go to explode, I just grabbed him in the hips, elevated him, separated his shoulder basically on the concrete, let his head bounce, and that was.
So there we go. That's all I could stomach before I had to stop the clip. And with that being said, Mr. Payne, what say you about the shit mouthing from Eric Watts?
You know, boy, I don't even know where to start. I mean, you know what's sad, brother?
Yes, he is, Brian.
I mean this. I did the road with Eric quite a few times. And Eric had a propensity to want to make fun of me, and that's okay. But the one thing Eric knew better to do was then to fuck with somebody that was a real shooter. And the truth of the matter is now for him to, you know, Rude's dead. You can't steal from the dead. And I guarantee you, I'll just put it to you this way. I guarantee you, if Rude was still alive, Eric wouldn't be talking that way.
No, sure.
That's all I got. That's all I got to fucking say about that. If Rude was still the fuck alive and Hennig was still alive, because I knew them both, I considered both of them people that I really cared about in the business. I did the road with Rude a lot. Rude and I had a really great. Rude got me my job in the WWF, and I've said that over and over and over before. And so I knew Rick Rude, and I knew him well. And Eric would be, first of all, let's just put it this way. I know for a fact, if Rude and Eric were in a dressing room together, I guarantee you back then, Eric would not have said a word to Rick Rude because he was scared shitless of him. And I guarantee you that Rude, I mean, that's the irony of it all, is to fucking sit and say shit that the guy can't even defend himself. Neither can Kurt. I mean, it's safe to talk shit about guys who are, dead because they can't defend themselves. But anybody, let's just put it this way. Anybody who knows Rude, knows Kurt, and knows Eric also knows the truth of that interview right there.
Well, Max, I'll tell you this. There was this one time at band camp that I went head to head with not just Hulk Hogan, but I also had to throw it down with the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho Man and Owen Hart. And that was the day that I realized that I am the toughest man on the planet because I just disintegrated all of them.
You forgot one point though.
What?
You were on the Enterprise too, right?
Oh yeah. This was on the holodeck of the Enterprise, and Captain Kirk was the ref.
Oh,
okay,
cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Spock was
Thanks,
the
Chris.
bench referee.
So
Spock was running the scoreboard.
There was no scoreboard. It was just a down and dirty holodeck street fight. God damn it, we're going to take it out there to the streets. And we're going to show them all.
Oh, my God.
We're going to have Man Mountain Rock show up. Man Mountain Rock with his guitar.
No.
Whoa.
So and that guy, that motherfucking Eric Watts, dude, he is just a living, breathing example of the kind of wannabe carny shitbags all through this business, right? So if you did
Eric Watts, let me tell you a quick anecdote, brother.
I just don't believe any of it. Like him talking, it's not true. I didn't know Rude. I was a big fan of him growing up. I mean, some of my style as a worker, I stole from him, and just to hear him say that, I mean,
rightfully so. Rude was a
real. Hang on, Max, real quick. I want to point this out too, Chris.
What?
You know, somebody else that you worked a lot like was Bob fucking Backlund.
All right, well let's forget about that for a moment.
Did you do that on purpose though, Bob Backlund?
No, I don't work at all like Bob Backlund. I think you just made that up. But
okay.
It's just ludicrous for him to think that. Like I just don't. This whole story just doesn't make sense to me, like at all.
Do you know what I remember about? Do you know what I remember about Eric Watts? Explaining to me why he went bald. The reason that he went bald was because of the material that they used in his football helmet. And that's the reason that he was bald, not because of male pattern baldness or a genetic gene in his family, but the reason that Eric had thinning hair was because of the helmet that he wore at whatever university he went to. He went to some major university. He played football was it Oklahoma?
Okay.
One of those. I think it was Louisville, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Louisville. And that's the reason that he went bald. So take that. That to me, that's a good indicator of a bullshit meter right there. You know, that was the.
I always thought his balding hair was from when his boyfriend was pulling his hair when he's pounding him. That's where I thought it came from.
I agree.
You'd have to ask Eric on that, but I really don't. It's funny because me, I'm not a guy who likes to just throw out there and go, yeah, Eric Watts is full of shit. Because the truth of the matter is, the videotape doesn't lie, and Eric Watts couldn't fucking, if you're going to compare wrestling careers, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, fucking
no comparison.
Rude did everything that anybody would ever want to do in the wrestling business. And
Rick Rude could get you a job with just a phone call, and Eric couldn't get a job to save his life.
Phone call. Rude called from my living room on a landline to fucking Vince McMahon and had him on the phone instantly. That's the kind of guy Rick Rude was. And so
that's wild.
I think rather than beating up Eric, the best part is just to tell the true stories about who Rick Rude was. And I told you the story about the B-bus and about Rude fucking burying Sid in an arm wrestling fucking contest. So if you think that Rude was still alive and he would Rude would, if he was in Minnesota, he would have hitchhiked to wherever Eric's next appearance was going to be to say, why don't you, I don't care how old he was either. He could have fucking been in a wheelchair and he would have fucking hitchhiked there and said, why don't you try that now? Because I know Rude and I know Eric, and the rest, shall they say, is history. I mean, Eric didn't do it and Rude did do it. So
out of us three, Max, out of us three on here, you're the one that would know.
Well, I'm not professing that either. I know what I know about Rick. I'm not trying to blow any hot air up anybody's ass here. I know what Rick Rude did for me. I mean, that I can confess. And Rick Rude and I spent a lot of fucking time together. I got lots of stories that will make you laugh your ass off about Rude, and because he was one funny son of a bitch. And I know Kurt
whole episode we can do.
I loved Kurt Hennig, and to hear somebody talk shit behind, it's not even behind their backs, to talk about a dead man like that, and to know Eric, it's like, what are you hoping to gain from that, Eric? Nobody's gonna believe you that knew Rude and knew Hennig. Everybody's gonna fucking laugh their balls off at you, and they're doing exactly what we're doing if that's what your goal was to accomplish, because you didn't know anything about amateur wrestling. You didn't amateur wrestle in college, and even if you did in high school, you did in high school. Fucking Rude, man, I don't give a fuck. I guarantee you, I would be afraid of Rude in an amateur wrestling match. I wouldn't even fuck with Rick. That's why I love the wrestling business, because you know what? I could befriend a guy like him because he was a bad motherfucker.
I'd shoot with Rude. Knowing I'd get killed, I'd still do it.
I get that. I'm just saying, Rude is one of those fucking guys that if you're in a bar, you want him on your side of the bar when shit goes down.
Sure.
That's all I mean, Rob. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but Rude was a fucking badass. And
there's a guy.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
brother.
we lagged a little bit. I thought you were done. I was going to say there's a guy, a very, very skilled worker who I can't believe never got contracted. Also a really strong, mat wrestler. So he told me once that he got to roll around with Rick Rude. And he said, when I say roll around, I mean Rick pretty much rolled me around. But there was one moment where I got out the back door and I put him on his belly for about 5 seconds while he figured out where we were at. And afterwards, Rick jumped up and patted me on the back. So that was really good. And shook my hand, because people can't do that to Rick. Taking dominance to Rick is hard. It would take somebody like Hennig to be able to grab dominance.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And the funny part is those two were fucking professionals. They would never do that.
Right.
Because they didn't have to any longer. It's a work.
Yeah. he's not going to get on his knees and let's go. First of all, if Rick's going to be in a confrontation, he's not going to go on his knees. Okay, shoot on me. He's going to just take you out real quick. Like there's just no question about it. Like he's not going to do that. None of that.
In what shoot have any of us ever done, like in training in school, where you started off in the collegiate?
Hands and knees, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, we did that sometimes just to teach our kids in our wrestling school how to legit wrestle, but like that was never a thing. If you're going to shoot, you got to start on your feet.
Yeah,
like,
I got a great story about Dr. Death Steve Williams, man.
Nice.
So I was really lucky because I was recruited as an amateur wrestler. I was recruited by Okie State, University of Oklahoma, Iowa State, Boise, BYU, all the Western schools, Cal State Bakersfield, Lehigh sent me letters. Needless to say, I went on 4 or 5 recruiting trips. And one of the recruiting trips I went on, and the most memorable recruiting trip I went on, was to Oklahoma. And Doc was who Stan Abel, who was the coach of University of Oklahoma, put me with to hang out with him. Doc loved doing that because whenever you were the guy that was entertaining the new guy coming in, he would give the guy, a couple $1,000s in cash so that, if we wanted to go somewhere and make it rain or we wanted to drink or whatever. So I had a blast with Doc. Doc and I became really fucking good friends after that. And then I went to Japan. So now I go to Japan to break in, and I'm a Japanese young boy. Doc's now coming over as main event for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And so Doc comes in, and he taught me this great fucking lesson. So I'm young and virile, and I'm fucking jumping up and down. And, hey, Doc, let's go out there and fucking roll around a little bit. And I'll never...
Big mistake.
I'll never fucking forget him looking over that fucking cut up eye of his. He looked up at me and he goes, "Are you out of your fucking mind, kid?" He goes, "I wouldn't fucking amateur wrestle right now if they paid me $1 gazillion. This shit's a work and I want to keep it that way." And he laughed me all the way. He laughed at me so hard. He goes, "Obviously you haven't been at work in the States yet." And he taught me some great fucking lessons. I'll never forget. "Are you out of your fucking mind, kid?" He was awesome. Doc was just one of those fucking people. I was always heartbroken that he died before I actually got to see him back in America and got to hang out with him again. But that's the kind of thing right there. Doc's another one of those guys. Like I guarantee you, there's no amateur wrestler in the wrestling business that wants to go backwards. And I mean that. I mean, you'd have to pay, like I got called to go wrestle this guy named Gary Albright in Japan. And I would have loved to have done it. But looking back in retrospect, I don't think Gary would have done, because we have just beat the fuck out of each other for a payday. And none of us, by the time you get to the business and you realize that it's a dance, not a shoot, there's great comfort in that. I don't have to fucking fight that way, like John Tenta and fucking Gary Albright, and the list goes on and on and on. All these all these guys that I knew from the business that they didn't want to go that direction. So for somebody like Eric, who's not one of those boys, so to speak, to open his mouth and say something and talk out of his ass about something that he probably should be left unsaid. Okay, Eric, it's your mouth. If you want to open your mouth about that, go ahead.
Well, what you just did, in fact, let me kind of get on the same page. Hold on, Chris. Did you have something you wanted to add to what he was just saying before?
No, I'm just, gosh,
so let me get into the Snuka thing then. So there was an incident between myself and Snuka, and of course Chris was there. And Jimmy was drunk. Now, me and Jimmy were friends, right? And I hadn't booked Jimmy in a couple of years. Although I tried to, he was always busy. So we spent the literal entire day drinking, right? We started off at Applebee's, Chris, about 2 p.m.
Yeah.
We drank there for about 6 hours, then drove an hour and a half to Modesto, ran out of gas, had to get some of the boys to come help us. Whole time Jimmy's sitting there hammered drunk and he's chuckling. He's like, we're going to jail. We're going to be in the paper, brother. We're going to be in the paper, brother. I was like, be in the paper? That's right. 3 pro wrestlers arrested before the show, brother. Oh, fuck. So anyway, we get back to the hotel. We go to the venue. It was a nightclub. We go to the venue just to get up on the stage with the band and plug the show tomorrow and all that good shit. We go back on over to the hotel, and Jimmy is fucking hammered. And he took a turn. He took a drunken turn. The same thing his wife, the same thing his wife would warn us about every time. Be careful.
Sharon?
Yeah. Be careful. Jimmy can get real bad when he's real drunk.
I know Sharon really well.
And she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
In fact, the night that I wrestled Jimmy, that me and Chris did our first tag team, she called me at the hotel and goes, hey, you might want to know that tonight, and I was wrestling snooker tonight. Tonight is the 20-year anniversary of when Roddy smashed him with the coconut. If you want to use that, I was like, you goddamn right I do. Different show, but Sharon is very, very cool person.
Yeah, awesome person.
Jimmy is fucking hammered, and he just took this turn, and we were sitting. It was in his room, right, Chris?
Yes, we went up. Yeah, we went up to his room. Yep.
So we're in his room, and he just turns on me. 3 fucking years, brother.
Well, pause on that.
Yeah,
so before he started turning, like he started throwing little jabs at, like in the beginning, he's like, you're 3 years, you shouldn't have booked me. He shakes his head, and it started off as a joke, right? Like he kept joking, little jabs here and there throughout the night. But as he was drinking, it got more and more. Like he started getting a little more aggressive with it, and Rob's being a good sport about it. He's like, okay, like that. Sorry, shut up, Jimmy, whatever. And he would just keep going. Anyways, I'm gonna catch us up on that story.
No, that's a very important detail I skipped. Do you want to continue?
No, go ahead. I just want to throw that in there.
I mean, I'd love to hear you tell the story.
No, yeah.
Quit being a bitch, Rob, and tell a fucking story.
Tell a story.
Okay. Anyway.
I love the hand gesture.
So finally, he's just like, and he's looking at me and he goes, you're a real fucking piece of shit. You know that? You fucking piece of shit. Now, my girlfriend at the time is so excited to meet Snuka. So she is now driving an hour to get to where we were so she can meet him. And he's hammered and he's belligerent. And I was hammered and I was getting belligerent. So I got to the point where I slapped a beer out of Snuka's hand and said, go fuck yourself. Who you think you're talking to? And Chris jumps up and he's like, all right, we need to be done here, Rob. Come on. And he's like, tell him, Chris. Tell him he's a piece of fucking shit, brother. You tell him he's a piece. Chris is like, Jimmy, you're on your own on this one, and you need to fucking stop before he breaks free. And he goes, come on, dude, please, please, please. And Chris is like pleading with me not to kill Snuka right in front of Snuka. So we get out the door, and he walks out in the hallway and goes, you better be fucking nice to me if you want this show to happen. This is my show, brother. I was like, your show? Well, why don't you give me the money back, you old fuck? And I went at him again. So looking back on this situation after Jimmy's long
terrible.
Gone, and we made up that night, like a legit makeup, like because I had to drive him all the way to Oakland for his flight. So there was another hour we were in the car together. We got it all squashed out in the car.
Yeah.
Because, that's where wrestlers settle our shit.
Right.
Cars and bars, right? So.
Because you fucking live there.
Yeah.
And I look back on the whole thing and I was like, okay, Jimmy was belligerent. Jimmy was also a fucking alcoholic. And I knew that when I was pumping drinks into him. Like, I should have handled that situation better with Jimmy because he had hurt feelings, obviously, and it took the alcohol to make him start doing his little jabs and then finally just unload his hurt feelings and anger on me in the wrong fashion. But then I was drunk and I was so combative at the time, ready to fight anybody. I was going to fucking fight Jimmy. And it was dumb. But looking back on it all, I feel like what I should have done was just reached over and hugged Jimmy up and said, dude, I'm sorry. And I have missed you. And like I said in the car, I've missed you, Jimmy. You know I love you. And we'll stay in better touch moving forward. I should have done that then. And the show the next day would have been better because Jimmy was still mad at me. So he did the laziest match I've ever seen. He didn't slap any hands. He didn't do nothing. He just did his lazy match, powdered out, and left.
Yeah.
He was pretty upset.
I got a great Jimmy Snuka story if you'd like to hear it.
Let me put a pin in this. So what I wanted to say, the reason I told that story was Eric Watts, when you are speaking of the dead, speak honestly. Max did it. I did it. Speak honestly.
Respectfully.
Because I don't believe anybody. Well, first of all, anybody who goes on that cuckold Hannibal's fucking show, that show has already lost credibility in my eyes. I think Hannibal is a fucking joke. Why don't you go out and beat your girlfriend up in another state and get arrested, you piece of fucking garbage, all drunked up and shit. Fuck you, Hannibal. But Eric Watts, everybody who watched that show, everybody said bullshit right off the bat.
Exactly. That's just it. The great thing is, Rob, you don't have to say anything. Eric said it himself. The great part about anybody who knows Eric Watts knows the truth behind that. I don't have to call him a liar. I don't. Because anybody who knows Rude, anybody who knows Hennig, and anybody who knows Eric Watts, all three of them at the same time, if you know all three of those guys, you know what the truth is. You do. And like we talked about this before the show, how many guys you talked to, and they laughed about this. That's the great part. And that would be my question to Eric, because I have some fond memories of Eric, and it makes me sad because my question is real simple. What the fuck are you hoping to accomplish by telling that story? Well, what's your goal? What's your end what is your end outcome by fucking telling that story, Eric? Really, seriously. That's the kind of story you just don't fucking tell. Because when you tell it and you're Eric Watts and you're talking about two fucking legends, the magnitude of Rude and Hennig, you're starting at a disadvantage. So why even bother telling that story? If your story is not to fucking praise these guys and tell the world how really genuinely who they were deep down inside their hearts, because I knew them both and they were both fucking good men. The part I knew of them, because everything they ever did for me was a gesture of kindness and goodness. And so I can't even imagine trying to tell a story like that when the end doesn't justify the means. You know what I mean?
And I feel like we could do a whole goddamn show of dudes in the business who just talk out the side of their neck. Because if the guys are still alive, you can kind of count on eventually you're going to run into them. The pro wrestling community is still pretty
it's small. It's small.
So running like one day I'm going to run into Roma. I don't know what's going to happen. But Roma, you're a pussy. You're a bitch. The way that you were slap mouthing Hogan trying to get any kinds of credibility to yourself again, that's what Eric Watts just did with Rude. Trying to pump himself up to be a tough guy, build his legend up, because who's really there to dispute it? Well, Max Payne is. That's for goddamn sure. There's a lot of guys who are. Dusty Wolf's another one who says,
But the great thing is, though, it's even better. It's better than that, Rob. I don't even have to dispute it. That's the great part about it. If you knew Rude and you knew Kurt, you didn't. There's no disputing it, because you know what? I don't have to. They already did. Everybody who knows them and knows Eric Watts, they already know the truth. So
but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the masses. We're talking about the masses, the people who don't know Rude.
Yes. Yes.
And I think even the masses who watch that video.
I agree.
You know what it is? It's you could tell that he's a dude who knows some insider terms. So he used them a lot to try to add, I went to the, fucking freestyle and shit. Dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Because Rick Rude could be laying on his belly with 50-pound weight between his shoulder blades and still tap you out. Fuck you, Watts.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the story just sounds so flawed, and yeah, none of that. It's like when someone's telling you a story and you'd catch on, you're like, none of this is true. Watching that video, none of it's true.
Yeah.
So I have a great Jimmy Snuka story I'd love to tell you guys. So this is one of those stories that I get to tell, and I get to tell you it because I actually asked Jimmy. I'd heard the story, and then I got Jimmy because I ended up being good friends with Jimmy as well. He lived in Orem, Utah, and we started a little territory, and I ended up doing the road with him and Colonel De Beers, and we had a fucking, oh my God, I had so much fucking fun with Jimmy, and Jimmy and I ended up, because he was in the twilight of his years. And then right after that, I don't know if you know this, did you know Jimmy's wife left him for the Tongan prince?
Yeah.
So he said, I never thought in a million years that would happen because it's fucking, I knew Sharon. She was like full-blown Mormon woman, man.
Oh,
she went to church every Sunday. All of her kids were Mormons. Wow. And all of a sudden, I hear she's left Jimmy for a 22-year-old the Tongan prince. I went, what? So anyway, so I heard this story about Jimmy. And so I'll tell you the story when Jimmy, you've seen my Lincoln. The Lincoln's famous because I did a lot of road. There's a lot of road stories from the back of the Lincoln, brother. You've got the picture. You probably need to keep that fucking thing close by because whenever we start talking about it, you should pop that up and show people. We were in this car when I started asking Jimmy this, telling him this story I'd heard about him, and I said, Jimmy, I heard this story about you. Will you tell me if it's true? And he goes, well, let me hear the story, bro. And I go, okay. And so I started to tell him. I said, so I heard you were on the road with the WWF with Mr. Fuji, and you guys had a fucking huge angle going on, and you were headed for Saudi Arabia. Do you know this? Have you heard this story, Rob? Do you know anything about this? It's a good one. So he's headed for Saudi Arabia, and this is Jimmy. And when the entirety, like every one of the boys were fucking cokeheads, right? They all had ounces of coke on them everywhere they went. But they all knew better than to take fucking drugs to Saudi Arabia, because in Saudi Arabia, if you got caught with cocaine, it was the fucking death penalty.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't fucking take cocaine into Saudi Arabia, but it was Jimmy Snuka. So Snuka and Fuji, they got drunk on the airplane, and Snuka did to you, or to Mr. Fuji, what he did to you. He turned into a drunk asshole on the plane and started talking serious shit to Fuji on the plane.
Wow.
And Fuji was so pissed that he preceded Jimmy out of the airplane and told customs that if they searched Jimmy, they'd find cocaine.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yes.
Fuji did that? He just straight up
Fuji was, well, he was drunk too, but he was pissed because Jimmy had called it, it basically done to him what he did to you, Rob. He turned into drunk asshole and cocaine guy, and fucking Fuji had just he said some real evil shit to Fuji, and Fuji fucking went, I'm not gonna take this shit. So he went to customs and said, that motherfucker's got cocaine on him. He was that mad at him. Damn. And he said, and so I said, the story goes that they frisked you and they found the cocaine and they put you in a jail cell at the airport. And I said, how's this going so far? He's going, brother, I think you know the story. And I said, okay. He said, keep going. I want to hear the rest of it. I said, okay. So I said, so you're sitting in the jail cell and these 3 fucking giants come in, smash your arms behind your back, put you in handcuffs, and put a black hood over you. And put you in a fucking car and take you out of the airport. And he goes, brother, I knew they were taking me down to fucking chop my head off. He goes, I knew I was dead man walking. I said, Jesus Christ, Jimmy. So I said, so here's what I heard. He said, so they take you someplace. Finally, they set you in a room, very roughly, I was told. They set you down in a room. And you can see out the bottom of the bag, and you started looking at the floor, and it was marble. It was like this real intricate marble design. And he goes, brother, I'll never forget how pretty that stone was. I said, well, I can see why you'd feel that way. And all of a sudden, they pop the hood off, and he's in a fucking palace somewhere in Saudi Arabia.
So Prince said, hey, bring him to me. That's Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah. That's what
Do you know this story?
No.
No, okay. So the Prince said, bring that motherfucker to me. I'm going to be the one to deal with this motherfucker. So Jimmy's fucking sitting there, and he sits there. They left him sitting there for like 2 hours, But he's like going, what the fuck? He goes, I guess, they're going to take me out in the courtyard and behead me. I don't
everybody.
Right. They're going to fuck me up. Right. He said, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden this fucking young dude comes in and sits down in front of me. And he says, hello, Mr. Snuka. He spoke perfect English. He was Saudi, but he spoke perfect English.
They do. Yeah.
And he said, hey, brother, what's going on? And he goes, so Mr. Fuji turned you in and we found cocaine on you. Yeah. So the angle that he was there to manifest was between him and Fuji. So that was the angle they were there to work, was Snuka was having a conflict with Fuji and whoever Fuji's wrestler was, right? So Fuji was the manager. So Jimmy's sitting there, and all of a sudden this fucking dude snaps his fingers. And he says, Jimmy, I have a proposal for you. And Jimmy's going, oh, fuck. And all of a sudden this guy comes in. He's got this big fucking silver dome, one of those serving things with a dome on it, silver. And he says, I got a question for you. He goes, how much do you hate Mr. Fuji? And he goes, oh, brother, right now I'm really fucking hating Mr. Fuji. And he fucking reaches out and he lifts the fucking dome, and there are stacks of $100 bills. Just exactly what we, brand new American $100 bills underneath this dome. And he says to Jimmy, I tell you what, brother, you bring me Mr. Fuji's eyeballs, and I give you this money, and you leave the country, no problem. And Jimmy ended up going, brother, all I know is that Jimmy somehow talked his way around cutting his eyeballs out. He didn't end up with the money, but because the guy was such a huge mark, he signed a bunch of fucking autographs for him.
And out the door he went.
And out the fucking door he went.
Nice.
Damn.
So I looked at Jimmy and I said, so how far off was I? He goes, brother, it's like I wrote it myself.
One thing
I'll never forget that, man.
One thing about Jimmy I genuinely miss was I have never seen a name who was so willing to sign.
Yeah.
Like he will sit there and take on the entire line of a restaurant. He'll sign anybody's anything. He was grateful. He was grateful for what
part of the reason for that was because That's the only thing he could write. He was illiterate.
Yeah.
He couldn't read.
Yeah,
he
he
couldn't
was.
write. The only thing he could write was his fucking name, and so he was incredibly proud of that.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, guys, we have really burned through all of our time. I would love to come back and do some kind of a Rick Rude like reflections show. You know, the Rick Rude, the
show
Rude
some clips, maybe
the Rude monologues or something.
Like show some clips.
I got a couple more Rude stories. I got a couple in there.
I wish we could get away with just showing a whole Rude match. That
Well, Chris just said, "Fuck it, I'm gone."
That motherfucker, he did. He went all the way out. He's not even back.
All he had to wait was 2 more fucking minutes, and he would have made it to the fucking 45 when we talked about.
Now we're at 55 and 49 seconds now. We've gone over because we love what we do so fucking much. Time limits be damned. But I do have a real asshole for a boss. Oh, wait a minute. I'm the boss. Oh. So, yeah, I have a real asshole for a boss.
Not true, Rob. Not true.
Oh, thanks, sweetie.
I'm going to expose that part of the business. It's all a work. You're not an asshole. No matter how much you proclaim to be. It's funny because all heels do that. And in the end, we all know the heels are the ones with the loving hearts, man.
Totally. Yeah, the career baby faces are the twats. But real quick, just for general purposes, let's show the Lincoln, huh? There we go.
Okay. That car right there. Jimmy Snuka was in the passenger seat. Colonel De Beers was in the back seat. We were drinking beer and driving down the fucking road in Vernal, Utah, while I told Jimmy Snuka that story.
And that's the very car that Hawk passed out in and put cigarette holes all over the back.
And that Marty Jannetty gave me in Nashville. And it's when Marty got out of it, he slammed the door. The hubcap fell off of it. It went around and around and around and fucking went down, and it went and died.
All right, guys. Look, we're going to get the fuck out of here, man. We'll see y'all next week. I'm Rob Wilds. That's Max Payne. That other jabroni left us. Fuck him. We'll see you guys next week.